Okay, question 21 to, I think because these are actually numerical, I might do them in batches of 5. So we're going to do question 21. So we'll go 21 to 25 and then 26 to 30, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So 21. So this brings us into the realm of standard costing and those general variance analysis. So let's look at the question. So please, I might flick onto a plain sheet so I can actually do some working. So make sure you have this question to hand. You should have the workbook or this question bank. Okay, great. A company that uses a standard costing system budgets to produce 1,000 units. So this is really where they're going here. This idea of budgeted cost. Remember, the budgeted cost is the initial budget, the fixed budget, the plan that's come from the folks in sales who have told us that we believe that we can push out 1,000 units. And that's where we're going with this. So ultimately, that's just the budget. Really, I can firmly say the only time we really use this sales budget in analysis is looking at sales variances. But once we're looking at costing variances, like, we're really focused on inputs, right? So that's kind of the key point. When I say inputs, material and labor, and of course variable overheads and fixed overheads, that sort of thing. But ultimately, this figure here is to do with sales variances. Okay, great. So a company that uses a standard costing system budget to produce 1,000 units, that's the budget. Standard cost, the plan was 5 kilograms at a price of £3 per kilogram. So the budgeted cost, if you like, which is the fixed cost, the plan always was that we're going to make 1,000 units. Actually, I haven't needed to go to another spreadsheet. 1,000 units times, we would need 5 kilograms. So ultimately, these are actually the standard costs. So this idea, you can see, it does tell you this idea is standard. So you can see it's back again with input. It's about inputs, if you like, the standard quantity of material and the standard price. And that's how you kind of, it's all very much based on standards. But in terms of the budgeted output, when you see budgeted, they're telling you to focus on the budgeted, the number of units that were initially budgeted or planned for initially, not actually what actually came out in terms of units for the plan. Okay, great. So that's 1,000 times 5 times 3, which takes us to 15,000 kilograms. I mean, from here I could already pick my answer being A, but I'm going to go one step further and highlight the idea of the standard cost. The standard cost is really saying, okay, listen, thank you so much for this. This was ridiculous. This is what's actually come out due to real demand. So demand has actually called for 950 units. So demand from the market pulled out 950 units. The question here is, what was the cost of the inputs that went into making them? And it's basically telling us that we expect you to use 5 kilograms to make each of these units, and each of those kilograms you should buy each for £3. So this is what the standard cost. This is our starting point, because now we can take this figure and can go away. So this is in effect referred to as flexing. This is the idea of flexing the budget to the actual output, because that's what we're really interested in when it comes to judging the people who make the product. When we want to judge the people who sell, who in terms of who decided if you like, in terms of selling the product, you could almost argue we would then come back here, but that's not what we're doing here. Okay, great. So this therefore brings you to 14. You can see 14,250. You can see that even after one question, I've gone 3 minutes, 4 minutes already. So I probably need to do 5 questions in a row. Okay, great. So that's that. So the answer here becomes A. Question 2. It says here that you have a business, a company uses standard costing. The budgeted production and sales was 20,000 units. So once you see this sort of thing, variable production overheads, when we're talking about inputs, we're going to ignore this. We're not interested in this budget. We're interested in the actual number of units that were made. We're interested in the inputs that went into making that product. So just because I'm making a video, I'm just going to be sort of, using diagrams almost to just kind of get through this. There's several ways you could think about it. Key point here is these are the standard costs. I'm able to pull out what exactly it is I need. This is what I'm interested in. This is I expect you, in effect, to use 5 hours to make this thing of overhead at £4 an hour. So these are the input figures, 5 hours and at £4. So therefore, if you're going to make 23,000 units, I'm expecting you to, therefore, I'm going to use in terms of input here. I'm expecting you to therefore use 5 hours, to spend 5 hours times 23,000. So 5 times 23,000 takes me to 115,000. So I'm expecting you to spend 115,000 hours on making this thing. And I'm expecting each hour to cost £4. That's what I'm expecting. But what do you go along and do? You go along and you are able to somehow do this in 104,000 hours. This question is asking about expenditure. So if the question is asking me about expenditure, this is volume here. I'm interested in. So in terms of, you've done it in 104 hours and you've spent 390. So really, technically, I expect you to therefore have spent £4 times 104, which is 4 times 104. I'll do it in kind of both ways so you can see where we're really going here. 4 times 104 is 416. So I would have expected you to spend 416. Sorry, it's expenditure. So what with expenditure? You used 1,000 hours. If I'm looking at volume, I will come here and analyze this. But this question is asking about expenditure. So you've gone in and you've brought in 104 hours, no problem. And question here is, I'm interested in how much you spent on it. So you've spent, it tells us 390, and I could calculate how much you spent per hour by dividing the 390 by 104 if I want to. I don't have to. Divided by 104,000 gives me £3.75. So really what you did was this. You spent £3.75. That's what you did here. That's what you did. Just because this is what brings us to 390. And I would have expected you to spend £4 on each hour and use 104 hours. So really this is the variance right up here. The difference between 4 and £3.75. So basically you did 25p on each, saving on each hour, which is the same thing as me saying 4 times 104, which is 416,000, minus what you actually did spend. Or I could say 0.25 times 104,000. It will give you exactly the same thing. You just have to decide what methods you like. So you've basically spent less than you should by 26,000. And that's 26,000 favorable. Yes? Okay, cool, great stuff. Right, let's carry on. Here, this is interesting here. It says that, so of course what you should do, of course, I'm sure you're doing that, is to read the question, test it. You've done all this. You're just coming back to revise and see where you went wrong. A watch repairer has calculated the standard repair time is 24 minutes per watch. So we know what the standard time it should take to make a watch. You've made 31,000 repairs. So I know that you should therefore be spending 24 minutes times 31,000. And that's 744,000. So you should be spending 24 minutes times 31,000 repairs. That's what I expect you to spend. And that's 744,000 minutes. I'm just going to divide that and turn that into hours just because it's more convenient. So you should be spending 12,400 hours. That's what you should be spending. And it tells us that you should spend at £12 an hour. That's the plan. Then it says that what actually happens is that the labor efficiency variance is nil. So you actually do spend exactly 12,400 hours because in terms of efficiency, you didn't spend any more and you didn't spend any less. So, but it says that the wage variance, the labor rate variance, is adverse. So it means that you spent on each hour, you spend more. So you should have spent 12, but you actually spent more. So the question here is, what's the actual wage rate? So I know that what they're basically telling me here is that this X, whatever it is, this thing here, 12 point whatever, times 12,400 minus 12 times 12,400 is equal to 3,720. They're telling me the answer, the difference. They're telling me they're giving me the answer to this area. They're telling me to just now find this. In effect, I mean, you just think about it. There's several ways you can do it. I'm basically saying that X minus 12 times 12,400 is equal to 3,720. That's what I'm saying, right? This minus this times all of this is equal to 3,000. And I just have to work this out ultimately. Right? So if I work this out, I now have 12,400 x minus 12,400 times 12. Yes, 12,400 times 12 is 148,800 is equal to 3,720. Right? So 12,400 times x minus, I'm basically opening up this bracket, minus 12,400 times 12 is equal to this. So what do? I'm just going to go to a clean page just because it's getting quite crowded. So let me just get that up right. Okay. So I'm just going to come here and see if I can get, will this let me write? Okay, let me just get that insert pen. Forgive me. I actually thought this would work straight. Okay, great. So what I was saying there, I was saying 12,400 x minus 148,800 is equal to 3,720. 12,400 x is equal to 3,720 plus 148,800. So that means that 12,400 x is equal to plus 3,720 is equal to 152,520, and that means that x is equal to 152,520 divided by 12,400, which gives you £12.30. I think the principle, which takes us back to kind of what you're trying to do, is make sure that you understand what it is you're doing. You believe, the argument was that we expect you to spend £12 on each hour, and so therefore we expected you to use, how many hours did we expect you to use to make 31,000 watches? And that's kind of the issue here. We know that we expect you to use 12,400 hours. Have you used more or less hours? Well, no. They tell us that in terms of efficiency that you haven't. Again, you remember that you must have done the course in 12 minutes. Sorry, I'm trying to make this as short. I don't want to spend too long on these so you don't get bored. But the key point here is that what I'm ultimately doing here now is telling you that this is they're telling us as a rate variance, a price variance. So we actually spent more than £12, if you like. So that difference times the number of hours actually used. So what we expected and what actually used is the same, is equal to that. So it's just getting your head around that. Okay, let's go to very quickly the next one here, question 24. And question 24, again, just kind of taking that, again, I'm sure you're practicing it before you're looking at the video as opposed to it the other way around. So it says the company uses a standard costing system. In April, budgeted production and sales were 10,000 units. Direct material price variance. Again, like I say, I'm interested in the inputs, not on this initial budget. So the focus, again, comes straight here. I'm flexing my budget. That's why I'm focused on the actual inputs. I'm now interested in the amount of inputs that go into making this thing. So in order to make 11,500 units, the question is how many kilograms do I expect you to use? Well, 3 kilograms each. So 3 times, I expect you to use 3 kilograms times 11,500, which takes us up to 34,500. I expect you to use 34,500, and I expect each kilogram to cost £10. That's what I expect. What did you do? You used 36,000 kilograms, and it says that you bought them at 342 pounds. So, well, just focusing here, I could find how much each kilogram was. I mean, I could, and that all I'd be doing was dividing 342 divided by 36,000. I mean, I could just do it. I'll just do it, but I don't have to. I'm not going to, so that you can do it faster, so you don't do it this way. So you actually spent £9.50. So really, you spent £9.50. So this is what you did. You spent £9.50, 360 kilograms. No, but I'm saying, well, you should have spent technically £10 on each kilogram. So therefore, you should have spent 10 times 360, which was, sorry, yes, times 36,000, which would have given you 360,000. But I already know the answer to this. I don't need to do it again. I know you spent 342. So you spent 342,000, which means that you spent less than you should have. So you have an 18,000 pound favorable variance as far as price is concerned. I mean, you've used more, and this question isn't asking about the volume variance. It could ask, of course. Who knows? You'll see it soon, maybe. And the volume variance would be, of course, the difference here times, if you like, the standard. But for now, we know clearly that the answer is 18,000 in terms of price. Right. Okay, very quickly, and that's that. And question 25 is a pretty straightforward question on standard costing. What is the standard cost? So it says that to make a unit of A, you need 5 kilograms of X, and you need 2 hours of labor. It says material X costs £1. The labor is at £6 an hour, and your absorbing overheads at £3 per labor hour. So that's 2 hours times £3. So therefore we now have £5, we now have £12, and we now have £6. Right? So ultimately add all these guys together. So standard cost is, what is the standard cost? The standard full cost in effect of making a product. And so here we have this plus this, and we have 23. So the answer here, if you like, is B. Great, that's 16 minutes. That's too long. Apologies. Next set of videos will be question 26 all the way to 30. Okay?